Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up. Glad you're along for the ride. Some news and notes first. Baseball plays tonight at Stetson. Hopefully they can stay hot. Big series against Georgia. They need to sweep Georgia this weekend and go hopefully win a game or two against Arkansas. Congratulations to Charlotte Eccles. She's the SEC Player of the Week. Softball is traveling to Tuscaloosa, the site of the SEC tournament this year. We don't play until Thursday. We don't know who we're going to play either. So that's it. And then also congratulations so far. Women's golf team sits 8th in regionals right now. But first, let's go to the Titan More hotline. And we're joined by good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can check him out Monday through Thursday on Facebook Live about 9 p.m. Eastern time. He's a late night guy. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Morning, Shane. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, buddy. We got a lot to talk about today, my man.
We do. We had a lot to talk about last night, and it's one of those stories that kind of takes over your show, and you don't have a lot to say about it because it's very, very. I don't know if I've ever experienced another figure in sports in a market as dominant as the one we talked about last night.
Yeah, and you're referring to Tim Tebow. Reportedly, he's going to sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see how that works out. I have my thoughts on it. Nothing against Tim. I'd be saying the same thing if Danny Werfel was trying to come play tight end. You know what I'm saying? So, but I will say this, buddy, and we'll talk about it here. I talked about it last night on your show. I salute Tim for, his dream is to continue playing professional sports. So I salute him. I wish him all the luck, but then I also try to be a realist on the other side. First of all, before I give my thoughts, let's hear what Buddy Martin has to say about it.
Well, I'm on record clearly about where I stand on that. I've written columns about it. I wrote a column in February saying why I thought if there's any chance that Tebow should be a Jaguar. A lot of reasons, not just football, but football being the main one, because there are things about the universe in their right place that makes life better. It just seems like that's one of them. Tim Tebow, a Jaguar, wearing the teal and black or black and teal, whatever they call it, and going in to play whatever football he has left. If it's just spring, if it's just fall camp, if it's just a game, if it's just a season, whatever it may be, he will retire as a Jaguar in his rightful place. And can he play the game? And I will say this, and we'll let you decide how much you want to talk about it. It's not just football, okay? There's a lot more that goes into this than just football. That's obviously the format. That's obviously the protocol, and that's the reason. But if you embrace the story, let me just say this real quick. Let me take you back to 1990. There's a guy from Mississippi named Shane Matthews who is on the depth chart. Some say 6, some say 5. I was there during that time. And he is picked by his coach to play quarterback for the Gators. Now, I could take you to do that 30 for 30 on Shane Matthews and talk about the odds, and people say, there's no way a guy can come in like that and play in the Spurrier system and win conference championships. It's improbable, if not impossible. It can't happen. Guess what? It did. Now, am I saying it's going to happen in Jacksonville? No. I'm just saying keep yourself open to the possibility.
But that analogy is like night and day. Because I had played quarterback my entire life. I had won a state title. I just hadn't been given an opportunity. No. Don't even go there with that.
Open the door, pal. Yes, you did.
Right. Okay. But here are my thoughts. Okay. First off, you just said a few minutes ago, it's more than football.
It is.
Last time I checked, the National Football League is a football-driven business. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are signing him to sell jerseys and tickets, they should be ashamed of themselves because they needed to do that years ago. Not now, because the stadium is pretty much sold out with Trevor Lawrence. He is their franchise. He is the face of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Ben Troop said it on your show that he doesn't think Tim can play tight end because he's did it for 6 or 7 years in the National Football League. It is so difficult. I don't care how strong Tim is. I don't care how hard he works. I don't care what kind of shape he's in. Because you know what? There are thousands of NFL wannabe football players that are strong, fast, and have heart, and however you want to phrase it. They just only so many can make it. Now, Tim may make it. Like I said, this is not a knock against him. I just don't know how he can play a position at the pinnacle of professional football in the world at a position you've never played. I hope he proves me wrong. I just don't see it happening. But again, like I told you, I don't think the Jaguars need to sell tickets. I don't think they need to sell jerseys because they have their guy now, and that's Trevor Lawrence. They should have done this 5, 6, 7 years ago. I do agree with that.
Don't make me pull out this card and read it, okay? Because I don't care. It's the card.
Yeah,
Tebow will be a failure in the NFL. Shane Matthews, May 10th, 2000.
I did not say failure.
Right there. There it is.
But see, there you are. You know what Coach Spurrier, you know what Coach Spurrier does to sports guys, media boys that misquote him?
Coach Spurrier he don't sign my paycheck. I ain't gonna worry about what he does.
You misquoted me there. I did not say that. So
I got it right here. We can play the tape. I'll play the tape back.
I didn't say a failure. I didn't say a flaw.
What'd you say?
I said I do not think it's going to work out. And here's the thing. Here's the other issue is, buddy, you only dress 45 guys on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't – you can't just be dressing a guy just to dress a guy, to keep fans happy or whatever. And I saw a quote. I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was on the NFL Network or whatever. And they made a lot of sense. You know, everybody thinks he could be the next Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is one of the fastest players in the National Football League. Tim does not have his speed and his elusiveness. But wait,
everybody, I didn't say he was going to be Taysom Hill. No,
I'm just saying that this is where they were comparing it. This is what Tebow could do for the Jaguars. I don't see that because the people hate it in New Orleans because I think Sean Payton is one of the smartest coaches. But when you take the football out of the hands of a Hall of Fame quarterback and it backfires, you look like an idiot. And so
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with that. I didn't say Taysom. But don't you put words in my mouth now.
No, that's
I didn't say. Wait, that's what you're coming back and putting. No, don't say people. I'm not people. I don't know. Well, you inferred it was me.
But you don't take the ball out of the hands of the guy you just picked as the number one overall pick.
I get that.
You don't take it to you don't do it. And I just and people got to remember they're not running Urban Meyer's offense.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what he ran. The offense, the play calls are not going to be what we saw in the swamp in 2006 through 2008. Mm-hmm. This is Darrell Bevell, who has been a long-time NFL coordinator. It's his terminology, his offense. So, like
who does Darrell Bevell work for?
It doesn't matter, buddy. I'm telling you, the NFL, Urban, you don't have a coordinator learn somebody else's offense. They implement what they know, how they call the plays. Urban's going to have to adjust to learning what their terminology is. Mm-hmm. So I just, like I said, I'm not trying to be negative Nelly here. I'm just trying to be a realist. I hope it works out. I salute him because he wants to fulfill his dream. But it also, is it going to make your team better? Or is there a free agent tight end out there on the market that could make your team better and you're not giving that guy a chance? That's all I'm saying.
Trey Burton, you mean? Look, I mean, you, of all people, should believe in dreams. You had the ultimate dream. You're one of the great stories of Florida football history, what you did. Now, you could play. Nothing to do with playing quarterback. I get it. I'm not saying Tebow should. And we're going to argue about this probably until it's finally over with. I'm just saying, I'm consistent with what I've been saying. Give him a chance. Fred Taylor said it. Fred Taylor knows a little about playing in the league.
Fred Taylor was referring to give him a chance 5 or 6 years ago as a quarterback.
He didn't get, but he said he didn't get a chance. Okay. So how can we judge? Well, I'll read the quote if you want me to. He said,
I'm laughing at this Facebook Live.
Because he said he didn't get a fair chance. That's Fred Taylor, not me. And now this is not about him playing quarterback. In fact, I'm going to say to you real quick, and I want to take over your show. This is your show. Is that I'm doing a column this week on what is there about Tim Tebow? What is this? Why is this so important? Football is part of it. And don't confuse this with your faith. With faith, it has a spiritual, ethereal quality to it. It's tribal, and it's all about the tribal people of the Gator Nation and what they want out of their person. They want their hero, their Braveheart, to have a fair chance, and maybe there's a small possibility. And I'm just going to say to you, Shane, leave the window open this much for the possibility that something good could happen. All right? That's what this is about. It's about dreams. It's about possibility.
I could care less. Yeah, no, like I said, I hope it works out. I'm just coming from the former player who was in the locker room and saw multiple tight ends for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it happening. But Brandon says, Buddy still believes in Santa Claus.
You mean there's not a Santa Claus?
Kevin here has and somebody mentioned a few minutes ago on Facebook Live, they want to know about the 5th round tight end. Yeah, he will be in camp. He will make the team. Kevin Brockway says here, basketball players convert to tight end all the time. QBs convert to tight ends. That's true. That is true. But Kevin, let's be realistic. These basketball players are 6'5", 6'6", can jump out of the gym.
Mm-hmm.
They're a different athlete. They are a different type of athlete, and it doesn't happen that often. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I'm just going by what I have experienced, and sometimes experience is better than a dream, if you know what I'm saying.
I'll hold this card. I'll hold this card. I'll have it.
You hold that card, and I, like I said, Tim gave up a lot of money. I don't know what the SEC network pays him, but he gave up a lot of money to go make minimum salary in the NFL.
Well, if he gets cut, he can go back and do it.
You think they'll take him back?
Would you?
Well, what if they replace him with somebody? I mean, you got to think the training camp is going to be going on while pretty much the first week.
I think you got to put your priorities. Look, let's give Tim credit for it. Listen, I watched him last night on 2 live streams. One was with his wife, and they talked to their pastor about child trafficking, which, as you know, is a big deal. When I turned on my phone, there were 4,500 people on that live stream. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I watched another one because my phone's set, and it came up. It was about his health thing, about keto diet. Now, I don't care about all that. That's fine. I mean, I know I need it and all that. But the point is that Tim's crafty. He's setting himself up now. He ain't never going to worry about money the rest of his life. Tim Tebow has been one of these guys that can do anything he sets his mind to. Could be the governor of Florida, the coach of Florida. Who knows? And now we'll see if he gets his last string. We'll see.
I don't disagree with any of that. I'm just telling you, setting your mind to something whenever it's the best people in the world at that position and that sport.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about your drive and all that stuff. Look, I want to be the best damn golfer in the world, buddy. But I can't play on the PGA Tour.
No, you don't, because you're on the radio and you ain't got time for the
right. But I'm a pretty damn good golfer.
Yeah,
but it's a different world, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you didn't want to be. I mean, look.
Trust me, I would love. I just turned 50. I would love. My goal when I graduated from Florida, when I started playing golf, my goal was to play on the senior tour.
Yeah. Well, there's your chance.
The more I played, the more I saw the dudes that played on the senior tour, because I used to play in an event every year with the NFL in New York.
Yeah.
I was like, I could practice the rest of my life. I'm not as good as these guys.
No. Well, Tim doesn't feel that way. And by the way, Just remember that in 2008, when they lost to Ole Miss at home, people said it's over. It's over. And they got Brady Ackerman called me on the show. That dream ended. There's no chance of a national championship, right? I remember when Danny Werfel got the crap beat out of him up in Tallahassee. I was standing there. We were interviewing Danny after he got hammered and I lost to FSU 28-21. And out of the 50 people in that locker room, there was one guy who thought there was any chance of winning a national championship. I wasn't one of them. Danny Werfel said, yeah, we still got a chance. So I'm just saying, you got to believe in something. I mean, whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. I'm not making a prediction. He's going to make it, but you got to start there. Do you have the conviction? Do you have the belief? Will you make the sacrifice? Period.
All right. So let me ask you this, buddy. Having said that, do you think the other tight ends that are going to be competing to make the Jaguars roster, do you think they have any of that stuff in them?
No. We'll find out, won't we?
If you're a professional athlete, you have that in you. That's what the Gator Nation, and we all love Tebow because he is a different dude. But just because he wants to be a tight end doesn't mean it's going to work out. And
Shane, hold on a second. Let me make you eat your words. Who else were quarterbacks in 1990 when you were on the 5th or 6th on the depth chart?
That doesn't matter.
I want you to answer my question. Who else were the quarterbacks? Go ahead, take them off.
Kyle Morris, Brian Fox.
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Honestly. We can't even remember them, can we? All right.
Right.
So the point being, you think they were going to lay down and roll over? Do you think there's some guy going to beat them out of 5th, 6th string?
But buddy, we all had grown up. We had all grown up playing that position. We're not trying to go play another position.
Doesn't matter. They didn't give way to you and say, "Come on, Shane, you can have the job." Of course, the other quarterback and tight ends want to compete. Of course they do. We get it. But you just have to bear with me, and I'm going to stop talking.
Okay.
Crack the window a little bit and say, "Well, there's a possibility."
Okay. No, there is a possibility. There is a possibility because
I got the card right here.
Here's the possibilities. A, he's in Jacksonville where he grew up. B, his college coach is the coach. Okay. Is there a chance they don't cut him? Yes. But I'm telling you, wasting a spot on your 45-man roster. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. You don't see anybody else signing him to be a tight end. All right. That's enough. So anyway, I hope it works out. You have, I think every week on your show, you have a guy who played tight end in the NFL, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he say?
Well, you know what he said, but does that make him right?
No, but he's played that position. It's just I can sit here and tell you.
It's not just about football. Okay.
But that's where the Jaguars are going to get in a problem because if they're doing it for other reasons, that's why they can't win a damn game.
Other reasons. I'm saying for the fan standpoint, it's not. Let me just tell you this. And I covered Tebow. I wrote the book about Tebow. I mean, I'm Urban, and I covered Tebow. I remember that I was given the privilege to be behind the scenes, and I just got a chance to watch him up very close, like being on the bus, the Gator walking, following him through the crowd and watching him. And I remember the day I walked all the way behind him. And along the way, there were probably 4 times he stopped to hug somebody. All of them were women in their 50s, okay? I'm just making a point here, who adored Tim Tebow, all right? Let me just have to say, and again, it's not just football. I know a well-known sports editor in the SEC who is not in Florida, whose wife loved Tim Tebow so much, she wore his jersey underneath her blouse for every home game, every game she went to on an opponent, a rival of Florida's, okay? There's something about Tebow, the magnetism, the tribal, whatever it may be. He, again, I don't know what it is. This cat's different, okay? It transcends football.
I agree 100% with everything you just said, but the NFL don't give a damn about any of that stuff.
Okay.
It's about winning games. And so I wish Tim a whole lot of luck. I hope I'm 100% wrong. But we'll see. All right. So now, buddy, are you more of a Jags fan now than you were a Bucs fan?
I'm getting to be both. last night on the show, I had a couple of people, friends of mine down in Tampa, who will be on with us. We're going to talk more about the Bucs. Kyle Trask has got, Tebow. He's got a big following. People are really interested. What if he does exceed to the throne behind the GOAT? It's going to be a fascinating. They're world champions. They're 100 miles from here in Ocala or less, and they're a good story. And I'm going to follow the Bucs a lot closer. I've lost my interest in the NFL for the most part. Shane, I covered it for 15 years, okay, in New York and in Colorado. So I once did follow it. Right now, with Urban and possibly Tebow and Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, I mean, that town's on fire. We got two really good stories right here now to go with the Gators, and it's the Bucs and the Jags. So, yeah, I'm tuning in for all the games.
Are you feeling tired and living with chronic joint pain? There are new breakthrough treatments at QC Kinetics here in North Central Florida that not only alleviate your pain, they speed up the healing process. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics at 352-400-4550. Speaking with Buddy Martin on the Titan More Hotline, we'll be joined by JP Shadrick, who works for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to, as we mentioned, we'll be talking about Tebow, this, that, and the other in the second portion of the show. John says on Facebook Live, imagine Tebow as a long snapper on punt coverage. Guys, that right there, the best long snappers in the world are playing in the NFL. It has to be at a certain snap, a certain time, a certain place. You got to catch it with the laces. That's just, I don't know. I mean, until you've been in the business and understand it, that's why I have questions. All right, buddy. So what else do we have? Oh, CJ Henderson.
Yeah.
Congrats to CJ Henderson. A pat on the back, man. He gave $250,000 to his high school. They're building a new football facility down there at Columbus High School down in South Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. Giving back is nice. Of course, it's not our money. I'm sure it's a tax write-off, but I think it shows priority. And I think France said it well last night. If enough Gator players who made the big bucks, I'm not saying you didn't do well, Shane, but you were not a $5 million a year guy. But enough big guys who made the big dollars wrote a check. Florida's facilities could have been over a long time ago.
No, they still weren't going to build it. They weren't going to build it until Scott Strickland got here.
Well, they had money for it. Let's put it that way. And you're right. And I love Jeremy Foley, but he was living in the dark ages. He wasn't going to get in the arms race, quote unquote. Guess what? The arms race is here, and Florida ain't the leading the dog. So, and they've had, not because they don't have money and rich alumni. They do. Good job by CJ Henderson.
There's no question about it. That's awesome. Their high school is going to have an outstanding facility. All right, buddy, I talked about it yesterday. Mm-hmm. A lot of the Pro Football Focus people are predicting Emory Jones to be a first-round draft pick next year. What do you think about that?
Let me give it a break, okay? The guy has never started, all right?
Okay, well now, but you're just talking about Tebow can play tight in the NFL.
Wait a minute,
you don't believe Emory can't be a first-round pick?
I didn't say he couldn't, but it's not in the news yet. Here's a guy. It's way too early to start talking like that.
I think Emory has a better chance of being a first-round pick than Tebow does playing tight end.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe you'll be right, but I'm just saying. I know these things are. I know, but the difference is you're putting pressure on the kid. That hasn't started the season yet. I mean, I think Emory will be a good quarterback, and he may be a first-round pick. But if you just sit here and say 4 years as a non-starter, the guy 3 so far, he's going to be a number one draft pick.
Look at Trey Lance. He's only played 16 games, and he was third pick of the draft.
Well, Emory hadn't played 16 games yet. Okay,
right, but he'll play 12 or 13 this year.
Well, then we'll talk about it.
Refresh your vehicle and your brand with the vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. Major lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Still speaking with Buddy Martin here for a few more minutes before we get to JP Shadrick. Buddy, I know you were excited about your horse down there from Ocala.
Yeah.
What's going on with horse racing?
And that's, and I love horse racing. I've covered many Triple Crown races. And Bob Baffert, I'm a fan of his because he's been a fan of the Florida Thoroughbreds a long time. He's been buying them and training him. He's a trainer. He, of course, has won a whole bunch, I think 7 in Kentucky Derbies, more than anybody. And the story was nice. Medina Spirit, which was bred right here in Marion County, just north of here, by the Rice family, and it was sold for $1,000. It was a nice little story. And now it comes up that apparently he apparently had some meds in his failed a drug test. I don't know the drug, but some kind of, it's like PEDs, but it's a small, tiny bit. Apparently, they tested him, and he, in fact, has been. Bob Baffert's been suspended. Now we'll see whether Medina Spirit gets to hold on to his Derby. He had a failed drug test, and it's too bad because it kind of kills the story. But you can't do that in horse racing, just like you can't take steroids in football. So kind of cast a pall on a good little story, especially around here in the horse capital of the world, where there have been many Kentucky Derby winners. I believe 6 overall, and Medina Spirit was a good story for a minute.
Did I read it correctly, buddy, that Bob Baffert said the other day that somebody was in the stall that was taking a cough medicine, spit on the hay, and then the horse ate the hay?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's all kind of possibilities. That's a hypothetical. A lot of things can happen. I mean, look, this isn't the first time that Baffert's had this issue. It's popped up a good bit. If you're a trainer, you push the envelope as far as you can. And, it doesn't take much for a hand or somebody to groom to do something to change the situation. My experience has been usually the old cliche, where there's smoke, there's fire, applies when it comes to this kind of thing. So we'll see. Baffert's complaining of some kind of inflammation. It's a steroid called beta methasone, apparently to treat pain and inflammation. And it's a positive. Now, what that was, how much it was, I don't know any details, but I just know that Baffert's been banned for the time being. They're racing Churchill Downs, but they are going to race in the Preakness in a couple of weeks in Baltimore. He's been cleared, so we'll see what happens.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. From now till May 31st, get our preventative maintenance plan for $169. Save almost 40% off the normal cost. Any maintenance schedule between now and May 31st will be entered to win a Nest thermostat with installation. So in 2008 at the PGA Championship at Sawgrass, Sergio Garcia, Spain, claims his first biggest win of his career, although I think after that he won the Masters. But do you like when they had the players during May, or do you like it back in March?
No, I like it where it is right now. I think it's much better. It just seems a natural rhythm, leads up to the Masters. I never got into it in May. Just didn't seem like it fit there.
Well, we'll be talking golf. In 2 weeks, we got the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island. Roy won this week at one of my favorite golf courses that I've ever played, Quail Hollow, because it's a hard golf course. You think Rory's back?
I think he might be, and he's, his driving and his putting at that golf course have improved. Rory just had to get his game face back on and finish. That was an important win for him. Look, he's maybe the best player in the world when he's playing right, and consequently, he needed this win really, really bad, and he got it fixed. And so we'll see, is it going to sustain? I think it will. I mean, Rory's one of the top 2 or 3 players in the world. He's been number one. He could be number one again. Glad to see him back, and that was a nice win in Charlotte for Rory, and I think he's going to be a force this summer.
Yep. All right, buddy. We appreciate you, my man. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, my man, and we'll talk to you soon. You got it.
Just remember, I got it right here.
Hey, I hope I'm 100% wrong. I hope I'm wrong. we shall see. That's Buddy Martin.
Right,
join us on the.
Thank you, buddy.
Buddy Martin, join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we're going to be joined by JP Shadrick from the Jacksonville Jaguars, senior reporter, radio, digital host. Get his thoughts on Tim Tebow putting his hand on the ground, playing a little tight end for the Jaguars. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport. Keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center. Center State Bank. Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Harder Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Center State Bank is becoming South State Bank. We still put business first, though. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State will still have 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for member FDIC. I want to thank Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to shift over on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to be joined by JP Shadrick, senior reporter for the Jaguars. Good morning, JP. How are you, my man?
Shane, it's great to be with you. Appreciate you having me back, and it's a fun time to be around the Jaguars. There's been a lot going on this offseason, and in a positive way, which is nice, finally.
Yes, no doubt about it. Before we get into the whole Tebow mania, I just want to get your thoughts on how you thought the Jags did within the draft. I mean, I love their first 2 picks. I know a lot of people don't want you to take a running back in the first round, but I think Travis Etienne's a guy who's going to score a bunch of touchdowns.
You know, the way Urban Meyer talked about it after the draft and after that pick especially, take away the true RB position on him. Yes, he is a running back, and he'll line up back there a good bit, but he's going to be all over the place. They'll line him up in the slot. They'll move him around in jet sweeps and handoffs and just kind of widen this defense. The defenses they're facing. They didn't have enough of that type of ability last year. Now, they had Laviska Shenault, who is a big, strong receiver, but he does play to contact a good bit. Travis Etienne can score from anywhere on the field, it feels like. So they didn't have a big playability last year. James Robinson, I think, is still in pretty good shape here, the running back who had over 1,000 yards in his rookie season. But remember what he is. He's a 2 to 5 yard running back, 4 yards a carry. Okay, that's fine all day, but he's not going to go 80. His longest run last year was like 38 yards, very late in the season. So they didn't have that. Maybe it brings a different dynamic to the offense and gives defensive coordinators a little something extra to think about with Chark outside, with Shenault, with Colin Johnson, a big tall option at receiver, and then the running game with 2 different guys that can do it.
Talk about the 2 other Gators on the roster, C.J. Henderson and Jawan Taylor. I would say I know a lot of experts said Jawan had a better rookie year than he did last year. C.J. started out hot, kind of was injured. What role do you see those 2 Gators having for the Jaguars this year?
Well, I think C.J. is coming off some injury stuff last year, as you said. He was banged up a good bit. And a part of his development will be, can he fight through some of the small stuff? I think early in the season, you saw what he can be. Week 1, he comes out, gets an interception off Phillip Rivers, looks great, has a big day at the office that day, and just never really quite flashed to that the rest of the time he was on the field last year. Can he battle through adversity? There was so much change around him. I think it just kind of, his world was spinning a little bit last year in the secondary. They had like 11 different lineups in the secondary alone last season. So that's a lot of change back there, especially for a young guy outside. Can he handle that? Now, there's another change coming this year because everybody else around him this year will probably be a new starter for this Jaguar secondary. Now, I think he's going to be a good player. I don't have any doubt about that. Just I think above the shoulders. Can he handle the change, the adversity? And I think this might be a good system for him. Now, Jawan Taylor, there's still thought that he can be a solid right tackle for this Jaguars organization. He's had some positive things that have happened, but he's had a lot of penalties, and he's just got to work on the technical aspect of those and not holding and not jumping offside. And I mean, it happens a lot of mistakes, and those pile up. And, it's a work in progress for him, but I love his mindset. He addresses it, he attacks it, he does the best he can at it, and he's got the talent to be able to go out there and I think be a long-term answer at right tackle.
JP, we got a text here on the Titan More text line. It comes from Joe. Joe wants to know, can you give us a rundown of what the Jaguars quarterback depth chart looks like right now?
Trevor Lawrence is QB1, Shane. I'm going out on a limb there. CJ Beathard came in this offseason. Haven't seen him play here yet, obviously. He's been in the league for a few years. He has some starts under his belt in the league. Jake Luton is on this roster still. He's a second-year player coming in this year. He was a late-round draft pick last year. Gardner Minshew is on the roster currently for the Jaguars as well and has significant starting time here. Now, to rank those other three guys in order, great question. I don't know if Gardner's going to be around here once opening day comes. Let's say they make the final cuts to 53. Is he dealt? Is he just cut? Is he sent packing some other way? I don't know. But when you got Trevor Lawrence around here and you have a guy like Beathard who has a little starting time in the league and might have a connection with some folks on the staff, and you have Jake Luton, who is a young developing prospect who has a big arm, at least. He's got that going for him. There's not a lot of connection with Minshew, with this current staff that's in place. I think that's my point. So for me, it's those three guys, and then Minshew's the big question mark. How or if or when does he no longer wear number 15 here?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if CJ Beathard had a relationship with Brian Schottenheimer or Darrell Bevel, because usually that's what happens when you draft a guy. You're going to draft a first rounder. Usually you bring in some guy who knows the system, has some type of relationship. Okay, let's get to what's going on now. The word's out there that Tebow is going to be signed via Jacksonville Jaguar. I wish the best for Tim. I think Tim is a wonderful human being, a wonderful football player. I just have a hard time believing he's going to be able to play tight end in the National Football League. I have tight ends that played 6, 7, 8 years in the league, JP. They don't think he can do it either. What are your thoughts about Tim Tebow being a Jaguar?
Well, let's start with the current state of the tight end room. You asked about the quarterback depth chart earlier. Here is the tight end room for the Jaguars. There are 5 of them on the roster. Currently, James O'Shaughnessy's in his 7th year. He has 88 career receptions in the National Football League. Chris Manhertz, a tight end brought in free agency this year. He has like 12 career catches in 6 seasons. He's a blocking tight end. That's why he's here. Luke Farrell's a draft pick this year. He's going to make it. Ben Ellefson will be in his 2nd year out of North Dakota State. He had 1 catch in his rookie season last year. And Tyler Davis had 0 catches in his rookie season a year ago. He's the now 2nd-year man out of Georgia Tech. That's the tight end room. So, it's one of those where, okay, for Urban Meyer and the staff, they obviously know what Tebow is off the field. Competitive spirit, drive. Body's going to be in pretty good shape because that's always been what he is. Does that equate to football blocking 300-pound men shape? We'll find out pretty quick. Can he catch a cold? I don't know. Like he had 1 pass to him in the NFL in 2012 and it hit off his helmet, when it was a little out from Mark Sanchez earlier that season. So that's a long time ago, though. That's 9, 10, this will be 10 seasons ago. I think they bring him in here, give him a chance. Well, shake his hand. Thanks for coming. And you're a friend of the organization, right? Moving ahead. I don't think there's much harm in it, because if it works out and all of a sudden you get something out of him and he makes the team by some miracle, then wow, that's a pretty big time pool if he actually can contribute to this team. But the odds are that he probably won't. So what's the harm? They know his background. They know what he is. Bring him in, see what happens, because they haven't been able to figure out anything else at tight end right now. If they can get something out of him, that would be a big bonus.
I know there's been talk that the Jags have been maybe possibly trying to trade for Hayden Hurst, or I think it was Zach Ertz. Do you think that still happens?
I think they're still going to go after some kind of pass catching option, a guy that that has a track record of going out and doing it in the NFL. They're not big, and you guys know this. They're not big on just rolling the dice on something I haven't seen, especially in this offseason. And that's been the track record in free agency and in the draft. Let's see the tape. Let's see you do some things, because there might be times where we may not be able to sit down with you and really get in your head as much as we have in the past. The Hurst one's interesting. Like, will he get run out of there anyway? At some point, maybe they just hold their cards and don't have to make a deal. And at some point, he's on the street. That's an option for Hurst, it feels like, with everything going on up there. The Ertz thing, maybe you do make a deal depending on what you have left in the tank, if you feel like that's the guy that can get you over the hump. But again, I think they're looking for a guy. I don't think they have to go break the bank and spend a bunch of draft capital that they don't really have next year. They only have 7 picks like most everybody else. They don't have 10 or 11 like they've had the last couple of years. So they're running a little thin on the draft picks to throw around. I think maybe they just kind of hold it close to the vest for a couple of months and see what happens.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. Speaking with JP Shadrick here, senior reporter for the Jacksonville Jaguars on the Titan & More Hotline. JP, I mentioned earlier, because a lot of people think with Tim coming in, he can help the offense learn Urban's system. But I could be 100% wrong, but this is not Urban's system. This is Darrell Bevell's system. Urban has to learn Darrell Bevell's system. Is that correct, or am I wrong there?
I think it's going to be a mashup of all that. It's Urban's vision for what he wants this offense to be, grand scheme, right? And then you bring in Bevell, who's been in the league for a long time, Schottenheimer, who's been a coordinator in the league for a while, who is the passing game coordinator now officially. You get all those minds together, and you might have a little bit of Urban's offense. Like, the idea of ETN is the idea of Percy Harvin. Now, Percy was a different type, different size athlete, but that idea in this offense is why ETN is here. Line them up all over. Bubble screen, 3-yard pass can go 70, right? They don't have that right now. So I think it's a mix of all those. And it's also Trevor Lawrence's offense. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not like they're just going to draft the guy without asking him, hey, what do you like to do, Trevor? I think there's going to be a lot of what's above his shoulders in this offense as well.
Yeah, I was more referring to the terminology. I think, as a play caller, Darrell Bevell's going to use the terminology he's used the last 10, 12 years in the league.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That's where I was going with that.
That makes sense, because he's the one in right there every day in the book, having to call it out and make sure everybody's on that page. That's probably a safe bet. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So keep us up to date here. I want to say the rookie mini camps are right around the corner. Are they this weekend or next weekend?
Friday, Saturday, and there's not a lot on the field. They're doing some individual drill things that they're not going to bring in, I don't think. They're bringing in, veteran guys or tryout guys or any of that stuff, because the contact's limited. You can't do much. You're wearing shorts. So run them around in some individual drills, and that's about it. I think we'll be out there Saturday to see some of them running around. I would be surprised if Trevor does much. He's still coming off the shoulder surgery in his non-throwing shoulder. I wouldn't put him out there, but maybe it's part of his rehab. I don't want to see ETN run around. I want to see how big this Walker Little guy is, the tackle out of Stanford, second round, 6'7", 320, can move. Sounds pretty good to me. So let's see that in person this weekend.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember back for the rookie mini camps, they can still bring in other people that aren't rookies, correct?
Now, it's up to a certain year limit in the league. I think it's 2 years, or a rookie or a 1-year player that only played a minimum amount of games in his rookie season. There are certain limits on those guys. So there could be an additional 3, 4, 5 guys that are on the roster that are there as well. But, there aren't many of those guys.
I got a question, because, a lot of people think, them signing Tebow, which the Jags probably should have done this 5 or 6 years ago to see, help him sell tickets and all that kind of stuff. From a ticket sales standpoint, once they had Urban come in as the head coach, knew they were going to take Trevor Lawrence, that pretty much took care of the ticket sales, right?
Well, it's never it's never done, Shane. I mean, come on.
I didn't know if they sold the place out yet or not.
Not yet, no. But when Urban came in, and I think especially towards the end of the season, when people started to realize, oh, wait a minute, they could have the number one pick. The Jets started winning games, and then all of a sudden the season ended. Urban is hired. That was a big boom, right, in the ticket office. We started hiring staff back. Remember, we had to pare it down because of the pandemic. There weren't a lot of people in that sales office. So they rehired a bunch of folks and sold a bunch of season ticket deposits and got renewals coming back in and all that. And then once the draft has come, there's been another wave of that. Well, I'm curious if this Tebow thing's happened. It hasn't signed yet, by the way. The report was within a week or so. Well, what if he doesn't make the team? Like,
Right.
He might play in some preseason games. Then the regular season is 17 games to go. So how much impact will that truly make in the box office? I think you'll see that maybe a little more if he's on the 53-man roster coming out and if he contributes in the offense. I don't think you're going to get a big ticket boom for a guy sitting over there holding the bench down.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I try to tell, like I said, I hope it works out. I just have a hard time seeing it. However, you mentioned it's not a whole lot of established guys at that position in that tight end room. But when you suit up only 45 guys on a Sunday, everybody has got to have some role to play. And that's my only concern there. When you look at the Jaguars, I think a lot of people were concerned about their defense last year. Before we let you go, do you like the all-season moves and the draft picks they made on the defensive side of the ball?
No doubt. They had to do something because they were awful last year, Shane. It was terrible. They couldn't stop the run, early or late, especially late. And the secondary, as we said earlier, had 10 or 11 different lineups in the back end alone. That's a lot of change, a lot of guys hurt, and it wasn't really COVID-related. It was just injuries otherwise and guys coming and going off the roster. It was just a churn last year. So in free agency, they go out and they really kind of beef up that defensive line. Roy Robertson-Harris has been around in the league for a little bit. They go out and trade for Brown on the interior, nose tackle from the Saints. They do a couple other things up front. Then, of course, they go get Shaq Griffin at corner on the other side. That's a big get. Rayshawn Jenkins, a safety, a strong safety, they feel like can come in and contribute right away. And then in the draft, Tyson Campbell is a second-round pick. They feel like he, at 6'1" and 205 or whatever, and can run, can be a starting option at nickel, because nickel is really a starting option now. 70% of the time you're on the field in a nickel defense these days. So throw him in there. Another safety, Andre Sisco, they drafted out of Syracuse. Had a knee injury early last year. We'll see if he's totally ready to go by training camp. He feels like he is. They all feel like they are coming off a knee injury. We'll see when he runs around come August. But and then you got C.J. Henderson coming back. So that's 4 of the 5 starting secondary guys are new to the organization this year. How do they mesh together? Linebacker core is pretty established with Miles Jack and Joe Schobert, veteran guys who've been around the league for a little bit. So I like what they've done. It's going to be a different feel, though. I mean, Joe Cullen, the defensive coordinator, it's his first year as a coordinator in the league. He's been around as a defensive line coach in the league for 15 years. They're going to move a little bit more 3-4 base and then run some 4-3 stuff, some hybrid. They're going to run the best thing for the defense that week. It's not just, hey, click the Madden video game. We're a 3-4 defense and we're staying there. They're going to adjust this thing, but they feel like they have the personnel to be able to play some of that 3-4 outside rush end stuff here.
Last thing, I assume Trevor Lawrence will be 100% when they go to training camp.
It feels like it. Yeah, he said that after the draft the other day that he's a little bit ahead of schedule. He's not a big percentage guy. He's not going to give you what percent he is, but things are going well. There's videos of him doing some things on the side with his team, and not this team, but his rehab team. We'll see when he gets here, but yeah, it feels like everything's a full go there.
Good stuff, JP. Should be a very interesting mini camp, training camp with Urban and Tebow and Trevor and all that stuff. So we may get you back on here in a couple of months, my man.
The Jaguars are newsworthy. Who'd have thought this a few years ago? It's really nice. And Shane, it's great to always talk with you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yep, that's JP Shadrick. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take our final time out of the pro, come back, wrap up this Tuesday edition.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Hot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Route Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TV Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Garshakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Skechers, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank Buddy Martin and JP Shadrick for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Also, folks, if you're still interested or you know anyone interested and want to work for Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, they're still trying to hire folks. So go check them out. Maybe you'll meet the cut. Want to wish the baseball team a lot of luck tonight. They go to Stetson again. We're hoping to have Tim Walton on tomorrow. I know they'll be traveling to Tuscaloosa for the SEC tournament. So we shall see. Also want to welcome one of our new sponsors, Silverback Concrete. A good friend of mine, Frank Stankunas, former Auburn football player, has jumped on board. You need any concrete poured, any kind of projects you got, check them out at silverbackconcrete.co. They do a tremendous job, and we're glad they're a part of our program as well. Don't forget, you can follow and like us on Facebook and YouTube. You can listen to us on 30 digital platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many, many other formats as well. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Like I said, I hope to have Tim Walton. We will have JC doing our Peachland Dentistry golf picks. So make sure you tune in for that. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We will see you tomorrow. Take care.